still awake. No, my candle.
It's Halloween. Ooh. Fall, like Halloween time, has always been my favorite time of the year. Just, you know, you get the weather, you get the excuse to watch more horror movies, you get the little ghouls running around your neighborhood. It's a time of year that's near and dear to my heart. I love watching a lot of horror movies. This time of year just gives me the perfect excuse to just play more horror games, watch more horror movies. There are some fantastic horror movies out there that are just genuinely terrifying. But we're not here to talk about those ones. If you couldn't tell by the title of the video, we're here to talk about the bad ones. Also, I'm taking this off. Holy shit, it's hot in here. This was my costume, if you couldn't tell. It's also gonna be my Christmas costume. The only thing I enjoy more than watching a good horror movie is watching a bad one. And I don't mean those boring bad ones like Open House. That one was just bad. I fell asleep. I'm talking about the low budget, bottom of the barrel, so bad that they're hilarious, terrible movies. The ones where you just keep asking yourself, who made this and why? And I have to say, there is no better place to find these than Tubi. I made a whole video on them before. If you go onto my channel, you can find it and you could watch it. But ever since that video, I've been using it a lot to find really shitty horror movies, or just movies in general, you know, for either videos or just my own fun. I love watching these movies. Oh my God, you can find some of the worst, absolute bottom of the barrel movies. And let me tell you, there is some shit on there that I can't even turn into a video because it's so incredibly bad, I don't even know where to start. I went on Tubi and just searched horror just to see what came up in the search, and a little ways down, I found this direct-to-TV 2004 sci-fi beauty of a movie, and I was just absolutely drawn to the name. Also, I just thought I'd mention this was produced by Columbia, which is like the Statue of Liberty people, right? These guys. I'm not sure what happened to them in 2004, but this was probably a low point. And you know, reading the name Frankenfish, you'd think there's like an evil scientist who is trying to make a mutant corpse fish or something weird like that. You know, like Frankenstein, but a fish. Well, just a little spoiler. It has literally nothing to do with Frankenstein. There is not a single piece in here that even like kind of references Frankenstein. I think they had this movie filmed and edited and like ready to go, and they just went like, oh shit, we didn't name the movie. And then they just went with the catchiest thing that they could think of, because I genuinely don't understand. I don't know. You'll see what I mean soon. We're just gonna jump into it. So we open up in the bayous of Louisiana, where we meet our main character, Terry. Terry's just boating around, capturing his fish, and honestly, just, it seems like a really nice day outside. I feel like this is kind of like a quiet life that I could really live in. It would be like really super relaxing, and oh my fucking God! Terry, no! So I lied. Terry is not the main character. He got eaten. Our real main character is this medical examiner who, I just want you to guess what his name is. Actually, I'm not gonna let you guess. His name is Sam Rivers. That's like naming Batman Bruce Gotham. Like what? Like why would they choose Rivers for his last name? It's not like this is a real story. They could have chosen any name. Like, I don't get it. I don't know. Anyways, Sam is investigating this random murder that's never mentioned again, and it's probably not important, when he's called away for a much more sinister death where they wanted him directly. Hey, get that guy with River in his name. He'll probably know what to do. We find quickly that the death he's investigating is Terry. Oh, I should also probably mention his name isn't actually Terry, it's John. I just wrote his name as Terry in the notes for some reason, so his name is John now, I'm sorry. Sam looks at the body and goes, yep, that's definitely a dead guy. They conclude that an alligator didn't do this because the bites are really big. So he's teamed up with marine biologist Mary Swamp. I'm kidding, that's not actually her name, but I really wish it was. Her last name is actually Callahan. Not that it matters. Her name's Mary. But Mary agrees to go with Sam to go figure out what could have eaten John Terry, the fucking boat guy, that badly, so they start heading to the scene of the crime. Oh, it's a dead gator! You see, this is a clue that the creature is big because the gator's dead and the gator's big, so it had to be bigger than the gator to kill the gator because the gator's big and the other fish. Also, I think the camera crew like dropped their camera in the water for this scene because they just like forgot about it and just left it in the swamp. They run into this train conductor guy and oh, dude, wait, he's noodling. Noodling is such a crazy way to fish. I used to know a few people whose parents would noodle like for a career. It's where you stick your hand into a catfish den, you wait for the catfish to just bite your hand, and then you pull it out. I mean, it works. I cannot imagine trying it though. That just sounds fucking terrifying. But this lovely gentleman's name is Elmer, like the glue, and he's gonna help them find John, because I guess they were friends. First person they see in the bayou knows the other person in the bayou. I guess it's not that many people out here. Also, for whatever reason, I don't know if you've noticed, but Mary has had her like third wardrobe change so far, and the main character also changed his shirt, which keep in mind, We're 15 minutes into the movie, and they've been on this boat for the last 10. So I don't know where they're getting these clothes or why they keep changing. I doubt they brought it on the boat with them, but that's besides the point. I just wanted to point it out. They make it to this weird little houseboat neighborhood with a hippie family, a voodoo family, and a Vietnam veteran. So I guess they've got a pretty diverse lineup here. They talk to John's wife, Gloria, who's like this voodoo witch doctor lady, and she's all foreboding and mysterious like every old woman is in a horror movie for some reason. I don't know why that's such a common trope, but if there's an old woman and you're in a horror movie, she's probably got good advice. Also, there's Eliza, which is the voodoo lady's daughter, and then her like boyfriend thing, kind of. His name is Dan. They're like kind of dating. It's weird. They're not important yet, but they are here, so I thought I'd mention them. Mary changed her clothes for a 4th time, and they start talking to Gloria, right? And apparently she set these like circles of protection magic, cast a few like protective spells on John. To sum it up, she told Terry, John, the fish guy, she told him not to go out into the storm without a shield potion, and he went out anyways and got knocked. I don't actually know Fortnite. Is that a good reference? I'm sorry. She also mentions that things have been like really weird ever since this strange boat crashed like 3 months ago. Gloria gives them a final warning before they decide to head out to that boat, and oh, okay, oh my god. So the hippies are nudists. Glad to know. And you know, they never have their clothes off again in this movie, and even if they did, I don't really understand the point of it. I wouldn't say I'm particularly prude, but I feel like it should at least add to the plot a little bit. And it felt like they knew the movie was getting really boring, so they were like, what if we just throw some tits on the screen to get you guys back in? And I guess it worked because I watched the whole movie. We continue on and they head out to this mysterious boat in the swamp. Ooh. They get on the boat and they start investigating while Elmer's Glue keeps a watch out on the boat. Aw, and look, he does believe in her voodoo nonsense. He said it was voodoo nonsense earlier, and he pulled out this little protection trinket, so I guess he's really nice. Also, the movie said voodoo, so I'm gonna call it voodoo. I know there's like different variations. Movie called it voodoo, that's what I'm calling it. Don't cancel me, please. Sorry. They start looking around the ship, and they're not really finding too much.
This boat had a Chinese crew.
Lady sees one reed basket and says they're Chinese. That's a little stereotypical. But anyways, they head in and they start taking pictures of, I don't really know. It's really dark in here, but I think it's bodies. But they go back upstairs because the lady starts yakking because the smell was bad, which I don't blame her if it's a boat full of bodies that have been out in a fucking swamp for 3 months. Probably doesn't smell very good. But they find this really big fish scale. Did I hit that? Did I hit that good? Hold on, I'm gonna try it again. I mean, to be fair, I'd be freaked out too. That's a pretty big fucking fish. They hop back on the main boat to get out, and this lady, fucking Mary Swamp or whatever her name was, drops Elmer in the water because she's like clumsy and sick or whatever. But I mean, I'm sure he's fine. Elmer, no! Elmer! Fuck. Also, really quickly, he kind of looks like Hugh Jackman here. I don't know, I just thought it was kind of funny. I thought it was Hugh Jackman for a second, so I had to look up the cast list. It is not Hugh Jackman, but he kind of looks like it. They go back to Mom all melancholy because fucking Elmer's Glue just died, and it very suddenly cuts to a secret meeting, which I'm just warning you now, this movie has a lot of random jump cuts. They keep implying that the bad guys are Chinese, right? But they have this like perfect American English, so they're obviously not Chinese government or secret like gang leaders. Probably, unless they just didn't have the budget to hire people with Chinese accents. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. Sam Rivers and Mary Ocean, or whatever her name is, have activated this like tracker on the boat, so the gang members are coming. We have another sudden jump cut to, okay, he's getting a little freaky there. This guy's like a bounty hunter. He's sending his evil people, the Chinese people, so he can recover this boat for we don't really know why yet. But I just gotta say, what was with the girl? You know, like I get it. We didn't really need to see him getting some major dome to understand that he's probably like evil and rich. But they keep going and they talk about ways to get rid of this monster, and Greg, who the fuck is Greg? Okay, I genuinely don't know why this name was written in here. There is no Greg in the movie. His name is Dan. I think I just got so bored with the movie that I couldn't even remember his name, but Dan continues to be this big stick in the mud character. You'll see a little bit more from him later, but he's kind of a dick. We cut back to Anton, the bad guy of the movie, as he heads off to find his boat full of dead people? I don't know. They didn't find any like drugs or anything on the boat, so I don't really know why these people want this boat so bad. But him and Jeff the bounty hunter get on the airboat and they start making their way off to that original boat that they set the tracker off. My guess now is that there's like drugs or something, or like the recipe to make the Frankenfish, because the movie's called Frankenfish. Remember, this movie's about an evil fish. I don't remember if he actually got introduced yet, but the machete Vietnam veteran guy from earlier, the one that has literally done nothing so far, finally says something as he creepily climbs out of the water and tells him that he's gonna kill that fish. And I just want to know, does he not remember that 2 of his close friends died like today from an unknown creature in the water? It's not like a Jaws scenario where they don't really know what's going on and they think the water's fine. He watched one of his friends die earlier. Why is he in the water? I don't know. Anyways, they go inside because they're about to miss out on that gumbo.
Dinner's ready, and y'all got to eat. I made gumbo.
And they all start chatting at the table, and apparently Sam used to like go to the same school as Eliza, and they find that out because she used to pour the Gatorade at the football games.
I'm Eliza Dessert. I used to pour Gatorade at all the football games.
I don't know why they did that. I just thought it was funny. But Dan is like super pissed that she's flirting with Sam, right? And they go outside to like talk about it, where Dan blows up and calls her a swamp woman, which I know she's literally in a swamp and lives there, but that's gotta be at least a little racist somehow. It just feels wrong to say. We cut back to the mom and Sam, and mother made him some like special tea. I don't know, I think it's some sort of like horny tea from the context clues we get from Eliza at the dinner table, but the mom, Gloria, immediately calls Dan her daughter's white devil, which is also definitely racist, but it's at least a little bit funnier. And it's definitely more deserved, because Dan is like this whinier Seinfeld character in literally the worst way possible, if that makes any sense. The daughter is absolutely weirded out by the tea, though, implying that the mom spiked it with freaky stuff, like I said just a second ago, but who cares about these stupid relationship plots? The fish is back. The fish is back, guys. Bobby and Roy, the nude people, the hippies from earlier, fully clothed this time, might I add, are looking at like weird shit in the water. I don't know, Roy gets too close to the water and gets his head bitten clean off by that big ass fish. The precision on that jump is kind of crazy. Can we get a replay? Good God, man.
His fucking head is missing.
Thank you, Dan. I did not notice. They all start freaking out, rightly so, because his head fucking disappeared. But Bobby makes the horrible choice to get off of her big houseboat and get into a smaller boat. Why would she do that? I'm not sure why she would do this, because the fish can obviously jump in the air. It just bit her husband's head off. Did she not just watch the same thing that we did? But that doesn't matter, because she gets fucking catapulted into the air when the fish hits the bottom of the boat. The fish isn't done yet, though. And I'm just gonna play this scene raw, because it is actually insane. Absolutely crazy slow-mo grab. I fucking love that scene. Is what made me go from this movie's boring to holy shit, I need to make a video on this movie.
You see that fucking thing?
No, Dan, I actually didn't see the fish 360 body slam that woman until you said, did anybody see that thing? Then I was like, oh wait, I guess that was cool. They cut over to Mary having this weird ethics debate with everyone on board because they're calling the fish evil and like a demon, but she's saying that the fish isn't any more evil than anything else. It's just an animal, right? My question is, did she not just see that fish WWE fucking body slam that woman out of her boat and eat her? That shit was like WrestleMania. That felt like the definition of evil. So based on that, they all decide that they need to get the fuck out, except Ricardo, and you know that because he shook his little head at the camera. Ricardo doesn't really speak in this movie. Actually, he's a Vietnam vet. Maybe I shouldn't make fun of him. Maybe he probably has like some crazy PTSD and he's not just like trying to be mysterious. I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't make fun of that guy. The fish keeps destroying all their boats, but it won't attack the houseboats for some reason, which are just also boats. These things like look really easy to break through, especially if it can launch a motorboat like 5 feet in the air like it just did. I don't know. I'm not sure, but they decide that they need to kill the fish because all their boats are gone. They immediately decide to change their minds and try to get over to the hippie boat because that one has a steering wheel and a motor. Unfortunately for them, the only way across is this tiny ass bucket, because that's definitely gonna hold and we're not gonna have some climactic scene about falling in the water. They send like the second biggest person in the group over, which I'm not fat shaming, she's just larger, like visibly larger than everyone else. Why didn't they choose like Mary? And obviously she takes a little dip in the water at the end. But luckily this goofy ass fish, like what is that animation? I don't know, this goofy ass fish misses her and gets absolutely blasted by Sam.
Wonder how many times have we shot it? It should be dead by now.
Oh, really? Well, it's not.
Thank you, Dan. I didn't realize it was still alive when it swam away. I fucking hate Dan. Ricardo starts setting some bait and the fish jumps on the boat and starts crawling at him like it's fucking evolving. And Ricardo absolutely blasts the thing, right? Head gone. Surely this is the end of the fish. Ricardo decides to start chopping it up and eating it, I think. I don't know. He took the fish's heart out first and starts grilling it. He gives this really weird monologue to the heart about killing his brother, and then he takes like a weird bite out of it. It felt very ritualistic, but you know, you do you, Ricardo. You can do whatever.
He's talking to the dead fish.
Can somebody just mute Dan already? Good lord. But Ricardo takes the bite out of its heart, and okay, there is a second one. There's a second fish. You know, I thought being Frankenfish with the movie called Frankenfish, right? The first one was gonna like wake up and still be alive and be this evil, like resurrecting creature, kind of like Frankenstein. But no, there's just like a group of them. There's just a bunch of fish. So it's not Frankenfish, it's just an episode of River Monsters that went terribly wrong.
It can breathe out of the water? How the fuck can it do that?
It must have a vestigial air lung, like Chinese snakeheads.
What is it with this movie and making Chinese things evil? This feels like kind of weirdly targeted. I looked it up, and supposedly this movie is actually based on a real event that happened in 2002 called the Crofton Pond Snakehead Incident. Looking at it, that one is just a bunch of snakeheads, which are Chinese fish. They're fish native to China. Somebody put a bunch of them in like a local pond and they killed them by dumping a bunch of chemicals in the pond. So the only relation that this movie has to that incident is that these fish are based off snakeheads. So I don't really get the connection, but whatever. We cut over to Anton, Jeff, and his goons as they made it to the boat. We actually get some more backstory on the freaky fish, so maybe we'll get to see like a lab or see like some test tubes or some shit. And actually, no, we don't. We don't. We just get this really weird metaphor about hunting prey.
Son, if your prey were that easy to find, it wouldn't be hunting. It'd be shopping.
I don't know. I don't get it. We cut back to Eliza, and she's just like casually cleaning off her clothes, right, from all the blood that got shot onto her, and the fish breaks through the fucking wall. The graphics on these fish are just so bad. I love it. There's this very specific charm to these old sci-fi movies that I just can't find anywhere else, and I love them. Mary starts saying they need to go get Ricardo. Oh my god. So if you're confused what just happened, apparently the fire on Ricardo's house lit the gun and shot her in the face. Mary's dead. No more wardrobe changes for you, Mary. I guess. Can you imagine surviving this long on a boat against these evil demonic fish trying to eat you, and you die because somebody's house caught on fire and the gun sitting in that house fucking shoots you across the lake? That has to be the unluckiest death I've ever seen in a movie.
The house shot her. This is insane!
I kind of fuck with Dan on this one. This one's pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie. The gun was really weird, but it can't really get any worse, right? So about 5 minutes later, the house that's still on fire catches this propane tank on fire and blows up and launches it, right? Launches it clear over the middle house into the third one where Eliza is. Somehow that propane tank blows up again and completely obliterates the house and launches Eliza into the water. I don't know how it got blown up twice. I don't even know what's happening anymore. I thought the main villain in this movie was Frankenfish, not Ricardo's houseboat. What is happening? What is happening? Sam hops into the water in an attempt to save Eliza, but the fishy is back. So Gloria like cuts her hand and sticks it in the water to use the blood to attract the fish, right? And that works really well for about 5 seconds until the fish jumps on the boat and eats the mom in half. So in the span of like 2 minutes, we almost lost 3 characters and we did lose 2. And so now all that we have left is Eliza, Sam, and Dan, right? I actually I'm not gonna lie, I really hope Dan is the final girl in this movie. I think that'd be so much funnier than it being Eliza, but it's probably not gonna happen. The fish starts going around and sinking the houseboats, and Dan is absolutely holding that bottle like a newborn baby. Sam gets this genius idea to swim inside Ricardo's houseboat where the fish just was. I can't imagine this goes well, but he ends up finding a flare gun and we get this weird cut to commercial pause. I get that it's direct to TV, but it's always just kind of weird to see movies that are designed to have commercials pop into them not have any commercials there. You really start to notice the breaks. We come back to an airboat showing up. Oh my god, it's FEMA. They're here to rescue them. Oh, okay, no, it's just Anton. They start talking to the main characters, and the fish hits the boat and launches all 4 of them into the water at the same time, which is kind of funny. And the fish is like going around, literally launches somebody into the airboat fan, just disintegrates them, and like he didn't even eat him. This evil ass fish, he didn't even eat the guy. But we finally get a little bit of backstory on the fish, and I'm not joking when I say this. The reason they made this fish is because Jeff, the bounty hunter guy that was getting the midday dome earlier, really liked hunting, so he just paid these people a bunch of money to make an evil fish to hunt. That's it. That's the only reason. Fair enough. Also, they mentioned they're just like souped up Chinese snakeheads. There's no like, we took the body of a shark and the head of an eel and combined them or anything. It's literally just like a bunch of fish that they pumped with steroids. While they're talking about all this, Anton gets absolutely devoured by the fish because he's just standing by the edge like a moron. And the ringleader guy, to his credit, just absolutely dolphin dives in to try to save Anton, which, that's kind of cool, man. At least he's not like a scaredy cat evil villain, you know? The second fish is now dead, and Jeff gets the boat back, right? And to my surprise, he actually doesn't just drive off. This guy's like almost not a villain. Right? He picks them all up, and it's time for some good old-fashioned fish hunting. Jeff mentions that there's one more fish to catch and he's the biggest. They track it like through the night, I guess, because when we cut back, it's the middle of the day, so they've been sailing for a fucking while. Dan gets cold-shouldered by Eliza on the boat, if you remembered that they were supposed to be dating. They kind of just ditched that concept immediately, right? Eliza's just with Sam now, so we have a new romance. Woo! I don't care. I really don't. I just want to see more fish, man. I just want to see more fish. They make it back to the original boat from earlier because they follow this blood trail, and turns out the evil guy is actually evil. Whoa! He pulls out a gun and tells them that they have to go in and help him or they're not going home. And of course he only makes Sam go in because it's 2004 and Eliza's a woman and Dan is drunk, so Sam's the only one going in. But again, to Jeff's credit, at least he's going with them. He's really leading by example, right? And we finally get to the only scene in this movie that made me even slightly uncomfortable or remember that this was like supposed to be a horror movie. And that's solely because I cannot imagine going into a random river fish's like nest like that. I have a irrational fear of water that I cannot see the bottom of, so just doing this would be awful to me. They get a little deeper in and Jeff's friend immediately gets eaten, and so Sam starts to ditch him. The guy's like, oh, you better stay, I have this gun. And Sam's like, that fish is gonna eat me too. See ya, bitch. So kind of fair, he leaves, and Jeff gets absolutely devoured by the fish, right? And we get a reveal of the Big Daddy River Monster, which this one is the biggest and the scariest, and also the worst looking in terms of VFX. Like, good God, man. I know I couldn't do any better. I'm not here to bash the artists. But like, come on. I mean, what was the budget of this movie? Like, I can't imagine this looked good in 2004 either. Anyways, Dan gets knocked off the airboat as they're driving away, but the fish doesn't care about him. He just leaves, and his friends also leave too. They just kind of ditch him to sit in the mud for a while. The fish keeps chasing them down the river, and we get this absolutely beautiful final scene with the fish getting melted by the airboat fan. I just want to say, this fish was tanking 9mm rounds to the chest without it hurting. It took this like poison that Jeff said could kill an elephant. He shot it twice with darts with that. I don't know, a giant fan is what kills it, really? I would have expected it to jump in and the fan just like disappears because it gets destroyed. But I guess I think the fish is dead now because there's just like sitting in the water chilling like nothing happened. They're just like, oh, I don't know, they get really weird with it. They start to sound like they're gonna start going at it in the river. Sam's like, you look good with fish guts on you. It's like, okay, let's settle down there a little bit, man. But at the end, Sam gets the girl and it's a happy ending. So they start swimming back to Dan, right? And I think the realization for me hit in here, they're fucked. They're absolutely screwed. They're in the middle of the Louisiana bayou. There's still alligators and snakes and a bunch of other fucking creatures that are gonna try to eat them. This fish being dead is not their only issue. Also, didn't they mention at the beginning of the movie that this area is like 4 hours away from the mainland by boat? They're gonna be swimming for a long... They're gonna die out here. I'm sorry. These guys are dead. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. They're dead. But we cut back to Dan, and he starts getting eaten by this school of baby mutant fish. I think they're supposed to be like baby Frankenfish. I don't know. I think it's like the tease in a movie, a second movie if this one did well. I don't think they did make a second movie. Actually, let me check that. Oh my God, there is a second movie. It's called Frankenfish 2, Snakehead Returns. Give me an arbitrary number of likes and I'll do the second movie. But anyways, Dan does not survive, obviously, and that's the end of the movie. To be completely honest, it was pretty boring until Mary got shot with the gun. That was really the turning point, because that set off this weird sort of chain of events where somebody died every like 2 minutes, and it just, I don't know, it just started getting crazy. They had like 20 minutes left after Mary dies. I think they realized they needed to really wrap it up. But all in all, the movie wasn't terrible. It made me laugh a lot, which when I'm looking for movies like this is all I'm really looking for, so I would give it an A in my book. But I am still stuck on one thing. Why is it called Frankenfish? I still can't understand. There was no Dr. Frankenstein character. There was no Frankenstein's monster. Frankenstein wasn't just doing drugs a lot. That's Bane. This movie could have been called River Monsters and it would have been the same exact movie because there's nothing to do with Frankenstein here. But anyways, that's all the time I have. I need to go resurrect a I need to go give some candy to some trick-or-treaters. Here's the fan art of the week. If you want yours here, send it to me. It's kind of that easy. I'm also thinking about putting just people's art in general, not just fan art, because I kind of want to open it up so people aren't just drawing me. That feels a little vain. So just send me any art you want on the video, and if it's good enough, I'll put it up here. But anyways, bye-bye now. Ooh. Boo! Sorry. Bye.